Greetings, fellow humans, and welcome to Apple with JD. Why the Apple? Well, first off, I hope you really enjoy this shirt. You're gonna see it in a couple of videos, because I'm gonna lump a couple of videos out. So, I have an apple. What does an apple represent? It represents either temptation or knowledge. And since this is the top 5 Wednesday, and recently we had to represent the books for our Hogwarts house, I am a Ravenclaw, so knowledge. Pardon the chewing. It will be part of this video. I got munchies. I hope you don't see my seafood. So, since there's not extensive notes, I can actually let my eyes breathe. 5 books that represent Ravenclaw. Ravenclaw is intelligence, creativity, originality, and wit, amongst other things, and acceptance. So, I tried to look for each of those traits in books that I really, really love. But if you would have to select one thing that to me represents Ravenclaw, I would have to go with the Discworld series. And I've only read 3 books, and I always make this mention because as I progress, I'm going to say, oh, I've only read 4 books and 5 books and so on and so forth until I read the whole thing, because I really, really enjoy that series. When it comes to hilarious and sheer originality, Terry Pratchett was bar none one of the most brilliant authors that will ever live. The ideas that he had, the thing is that what I like about Terry wasn't necessarily the plot or the plot twists. It was the ideas that he had, the concepts that he had, and the style. So original, so smart, just a brilliant guy. And again, I'm really disappointed in myself that it took for him to die for me to freaking read him. But yeah, definitely Discworld represents that originality, that creativity aspect, because it's not every day you see a disc-shaped world resting on top of 4 elephants balancing on top of a turtle on their way to oblivion. Second book, The Giver. The Giver is actually a really intense book, but when I think of acceptance, just the concept of the giver and what it means to be the giver. I don't want to talk too much about the concept because it's definitely a book I don't want to spoil. But when it comes to acceptance, I have a hard time finding a book that is more, that embodies acceptance more than that. Maybe I'll find another one, but definitely that book is really good. Third, Watchman by Alan Moore. Alan Moore had the balls to write a graphic novel that made people say, well, that's one of the best novels ever written. It is that good. It is not my favorite graphic novel in the sense that it's not one of my favorites, but what it does with the medium, it is just amazing. People say, oh, I didn't like the movie. I'm like, yeah, because it wasn't supposed to be a movie. It's a graphic novel, and that's how it works as a graphic novel. It breaks so many conventions, and it works like a story within a story and a graphic novel, and it is a completely original story, and it is intense and well written, and everyone is well rounded out. What more can you want from a literary piece? And between that and V for Vendetta, I definitely know I have to read more Alan Moore. Some of his novels are a bit daunting. I do want to read Swamp Thing because I read like the first 2 pages, and just the thoughts of Swamp Thing, I was like, wow, I have to either buy this or read this ASAP. But book 3 would be The Watchman. Book number 4, I want to branch out. So, although I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, I do think that the Book of Longing by Leonard Cohen does represent what the spirit of being a Ravenclaw, being original, being creatively daring. And that book, it just goes all over the spectrum. Here's the thing, I give it 4 out of 5 stars because when I see Leonard Cohen not adhere to rhyme, I think that's when he shines the best. When he has to, when he forces the rhyme, sometimes there's repetition and whatnot. And the thing is that this guy was so smooth, and he's like a smoother Bukowski. He's like, there's different types of whiskey. Then he's a smoother variety of whiskey. Just as strong, just as potent, just as deep and meaningful. But that book specifically, it shows his drawings and just different things, and it's a really, really interesting read, and I think one of those books that is just a great gift. Book number 5. Man in Search of Soul by Carl Jung. I did study psychology in college. And you're always comparing theorists, and you go like, oh, who do you prefer? I agree with Freud to a certain point. I see the value of other people, even if it is to give me a counterpoint of what I don't enjoy. And B.F. Skinner, I don't agree with his theories. Oversimplification of theories. I do see the value of learned behavior, but trying to use that as what is unifying to explain mental processes, I don't think that's responsible, but that's just me. Out of all that group, Carl Jung shines the brightest because he's the one who's way out there and has concepts that really blow my mind. The shadow self is one of them, and the collective subconscious is another. 2 topics and 2 concepts that really, really resonate with me. Just thinking of that is amazing to me. And it does invite you to see the archetypes that we share, the thought patterns that we share, the opinions and behaviors that we share, and what's on surface level and what goes deep. And sometimes, tapping into that collective subconscious can yield some interesting things. I'm a big fan of promoting people to nurture common ground and finding common ground rather than saying I'm right and you're wrong. I think accepting the collective subconscious is a good step towards that. But as a concept, it blew my mind. I do want to add 2 notable mentions, though. Firstly, it's not a book. But when it comes to creativity, Super Mario is one of the most amazing things that I've ever encountered. It is out there. There's a plumber who goes to a mushroom kingdom through a pipe to save a princess. But the sheer level of genius that it takes to create a Mario game, it just makes me smile. And finally, I do want to add one bonus, and I will tout this book of mine as something representative of the Ravenclaw nature in me. Most people know me as the author of The Human Cycle, mainly Only Human and whatnot, but I am very fond of the Daydreams on the Sherbet Shore. I tried getting more reviews, I sent the books, people didn't get the concept, etc. But these are short stories that are free thought. I don't have bullet points. This is a stream of mind, and just to have fun with it, and to find that those quirky little comments in your brain that make you giggle and you don't share with other people. I have a lot of fun with them because I can let go and there are no rules. Creative-wise, there are no rules. And that's why I'm really, really fond of that series, and I wish it got more traction and people enjoyed it more. Some people don't get it. Some people love it. Some people adore it. Some people go like, meh. But in the end, I do it as a world-building project that is creating that dream world that I am, one story at a time. It's like taking a patchwork map and filling each little quadrant with what happens in that story until eventually there's a whole world. Um, and I do think it is a tribute to the Ravenclaw nature. So, those are my five. Get ready for more of this shirt, less of this, maybe some glasses. But till next time, peace, love, and Mikey rolls.